HOA cops blocked my driveway, over $79 fine. They had no idea I'm the police chief. It had been a long, exhausting week. Chief Daniel Carter stepped out of his car, rubbing his temples as he pulled into his driveway. His uniform still smelled faintly of smoke from the house fire he had helped contain earlier that day. Lives had been saved, but the weight of the job, of always having to be strong, to make the hard calls, never seemed to lift. As he reached for the mailbox, something caught his eye, a bright orange paper fluttering against the wind, wedged under his windshield wiper. Notice of violation, $79 fine. Daniel sighed. His homeowners association, always meticulous to the point of absurdity, had fined him again. This time, for improperly stored trash bins, a minor offense in the grand scheme of things, but a thorn in his already weary mind. He barely had time to process it when the flashing lights of an HOA security vehicle appeared at the entrance of his driveway, blocking him in. Two uniformed HOA enforcers stepped out, their chests puffed up with authority. "Sir," the older one, a burly man with graying hair, began, "this fine needs to be settled immediately." Daniel let out a slow breath. "I just got home. Can we handle this later?" The second officer, younger and eager, crossed his arms. "Policy states unresolved violations can escalate to immobilization of the vehicle." He gestured toward a tow truck idling nearby. Daniel studied their faces. They had no idea who he was. No idea that he was the police chief of this very town, that he had spent the last 12 hours ensuring public safety. His first instinct was frustration. He could easily flash his badge, make a call, and have this entire situation disappear. But something stopped him. Instead, he asked, "Do you enjoy this job?" The older officer blinked, caught off guard. "Excuse me? This job? Writing fines, towing cars, do you enjoy it?" The younger one scoffed. "It's not about enjoying it. It's about enforcing rules. If we let one person slide, chaos follows." Daniel nodded slowly. "I get it. Believe me, I do. I enforce laws, too. But let me tell you something, rules without compassion aren't justice. They're just control." A tense silence hung in the air. Then, Daniel reached into his wallet, pulled out a crisp $100 bill, and handed it to the older officer. "Here's the fine, plus a little extra. Use it to buy coffee for your team." The man's eyes flickered with something, perhaps recognition, perhaps shame. He hesitated, then took the money. Daniel smiled, exhaustion still evident in his face. "Next time, before you block someone's driveway over a trash can, ask yourself if there's a bigger picture." With that, he walked inside, leaving them standing in the driveway. Later that night, a quiet knock came at his door. When he opened it, the older HOA officer stood there, holding a crumpled receipt. "I paid your fine," he said. "And the rest of the money?" "I used it to buy groceries for a single mom down the street. She was struggling." Daniel felt a lump rise in his throat. "Thanks for reminding me," the officer continued, his voice softer, "that rules should never replace kindness." Daniel nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. "That's the kind of enforcement I can respect." And for the first time in weeks, as he closed the door behind him, Daniel felt something lift, a reminder that, even in a world of rules and authority, humanity always had the final say.